Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is headlines and prophecy. There are so many things going on in the world today, I couldn't just pick one topic. So here's what I've done. I've got just a collection of very important headlines that relate to Bible prophecy, and we're going to talk about each one of them. Okay, we'll start with, first of all, Speaker of Russian Duma, okay, that's like the Russian Congress, tells Europe nuclear war is coming. Okay, I just turned 71. I've never heard any nation threaten America or any other nation with nuclear war. He didn't say, if you don't do this, you don't do it. He just simply said, nuclear war is coming. And to remind you, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America, started by the communists. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, and will attack and defeat America in 1 hour. The next headline, Russia to increase military to 2.389 million men. Why would they do that? I'll tell you why they do that. Because evil Molochs and Baal worshippers that control the world behind the scenes above president in America and NATO and the other countries are threatening Russia. Why? Because we're about to take away their financial system. They're saying, no, you're not going to take away our financial system or we'll destroy it. Just like they told Benjamin Fulford, we've ruled this planet for thousands of years and we'll destroy it rather than give it up. Again, is Russia kidding? When they hire 2.389 million more men to go to war? No, they're not kidding. We are heading to war. Now, the good news is not one of the 7 newspaper headlines given to Leslie prior to the attack on America, not one of them has come to pass. So I can guarantee you, that's the good news, Russia is not about to attack America in the all-out nuclear attack. We know that we're looking at suitcase nukes, fall of the dollar, an earthquake. We're looking at several more things before this happens. On to the next one. Oh, well, we've got a new sponsor. Go check it out, sat123.com, because these guys can offer you satellite phones. And this is really pretty neat. They sent me one of these. Okay, so you just open it up like this, call someone, and you can talk. Now, why is this important? Because when the suitcase nukes go off, I mean, when you have 37 prophecies saying they're going off at that point, you got to say, okay, it's not a question. It's going to go off. When they go off, they're going to fry the computer chips within a certain distance. We don't exactly know. But if you have long wires, things like what go to telephone, electrical systems, and things like that, it fries the computer chips. So you can pretty much bet all of the cell phones and the cell phone services are going to be dead. But this will go directly to satellite. The theory is these will still work. So you might go to satellite123.com, and they have lots of them. They have satellite hotspots. They have marine satellite internet. They have satellite radios. There are lots of things up there. I don't know, probably 500 different products. And if you put in the promo code prophecy, get you a discount. And yes, it helps your prophecy climb. Okay, back to our topic. Following Putin's warning that any attacks in Russia with Western-supplied missiles will be treated as an act of war, NATO flips. The Russians are warning us, and they're warning us. But the evil people controlling America right now continue to take steps toward war. In other words, we are causing our enemy to attack us. And if Trump doesn't get in and stop this mess, the attack may become sooner rather than later. I hope it is later. Russia warns the United States of risks of World War III. And they say if we allow Ukraine to attack Russia, kill Russians inside Russian territory with NATO weapons, American or British weapons, which are guided by American satellites, they will count that as an act of war, and it will not be confined to just Europe. In other words, they're saying, we're going to attack America. Now, the way it's going to happen, they're not going to just launch one little nuclear weapon. With nuclear weapons, either you do it all out or not at all. And so they will wait until God gives them permission. Because nothing happens unless the courts of heaven, Jesus, allows it to happen. And he's not allowing it to happen yet. But we should be able to see it's getting very, very close. You and I have never seen these kind of headlines in our life. On to the next one. Now let's talk about Israel, because Israel's God's time clock. If you want to know what time it is, you want to know what's going on in the world, prophetically, look to Israel. So the U.S. SecDef, Secretary of Defense, alerts Congress Israel is going into Lebanon. Now, I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks from several different articles. Why? Because we'd like to think that there's going to be peace. But the peace is going to be Israel giving the Palestinians a state, and they're not ready to do that. So the fighting still goes on. It's not close. My guess is, here, I looked it up the date. Where'd I put it? Oh, man, where'd I put that date? Well, good grief. I wrote it down. Now I can't find the date. Anyway, I was going to look up the 49 days. I looked it up, 49 days counting Vomer. I think it's like April 10th to June 1 or something like that. April 13th to June 1. Anyway, we'll get to it another time. We still got plenty of time. Okay, next headline. Hezbollah says all red lines have been crossed and there will be a devastating response to Israel's declaration of war. Okay, well, here's prophetically what's going to happen. We do know that Israel has a secret weapon because of John Paul Jackson. And the headline he was shown is something like, what other secret weapons does Israel have that she's not revealed yet? And the prophecies say that there's going to be a war. All of the Muslim nations will attack Israel, and Israel will bring out that secret weapon and devastate them. Why do we know that? Because Ezekiel 38 and 39 and several other scriptures say that when Armageddon comes, Israel will be dwelling safely. The only way that Israel could be dwelling safely is if she cleaned the clock of all of the surrounding nations all around her, as in Egypt, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, all of those. So all of those would be pretty much gone, along with, and then America is taken out. When Israel is attacked for Armageddon, it's basically Russia and her Islamic allies. There'll still be some Muslims there. Those nations come down to attack Israel, and America is not there to help. So they have to cry Messiah. Messiah returns in the clouds and defeats the armies of the earth. All of this is saying that we're getting very, very close to the last days. State of Palestine takes seat in UN General Assembly. The article goes on to basically say the whole world is against Israel. Well, that is Armageddon, because when Armageddon comes, it's the whole world, led by the Russians, come down to attack her, and then that's part of what Dmitry was told. Then so Israel sees she can't get the help of the Jews in America, she cries for Messiah. Messiah returns in the clouds, Jesus, and defeats the armies of the earth. That's Armageddon. I can see it's not yet, but I can see it's not too many years down the road. Some people are saying, oh, Jesus is going to return. That would be Armageddon. In 2028, others 2029, others 2030. I don't know. I think it's someplace in that ballpark, but I think we'll know. I mean, as soon as we see the Antichrist sit on the Ark of the Covenant, proclaim himself God, stop animal sacrifice, when we see that, pull out your clock, make note of it, because 3.5 years later is Armageddon. And from that moment, we're going to be able to set a lot of things in order to the day. Now, not to the day and the hour. No one knows the day and the hour. Why don't we know the day and the hour? Because the earth is turned upside down. All reckoning of time is gone. We can guess the year. We can probably guess the month. But we won't be able to guess the day or the hour, because who knows? I mean, the earth turns upside down. If the days are shortened, if the days are not shortened, no flesh will be saved. So if all of that takes place, I'm impressed to say something else. I've been fighting this. Somebody, by the way, again, thank you for your emails. Somebody sent me to a site, and this guy was well researched. I'm going to say perhaps even more researched than myself. But I know God spoke to me When I memorized the book of Revelation, it showed me an audible voice and 2 visions, and those I trust. During that time, when I was writing Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy, I think it's a supernatural book, and I have no intention of changing anything into it, because at that time, I was hearing from God like I never heard in my life. And this guy was just so wrong in his understanding. So, as I said to Leslie over lunch today, I took her out to lunch, got to, have some life sometime. And I said, she was telling me about this research she's doing. And I said, well, let me just tell you, I said, I have never in all of my days seen so many people that are spewing out, I heard from God, or teaching about Bible prophecy that have so much error. You remember Jesus says that in the last days, many shall come in my name, saying, I'm Christ, and shall deceive many. Those are the days we're in right now. So let me caution you. Be careful. When it comes to Bible prophecy, be careful what you believe. When it comes to someone telling you, I heard from God, be careful what you believe. Look, if they're new to the ministry, that should be a red flag. I'll even say if they're young, that should be a red flag. I mean, if you look at my background, okay, 40 years in Bible, 41 years in Bible prophecy, 160 guest speakers, 300 DVDs, 37 DVDs I made myself, memorized the book of Revelation, 4 books. Okay, I'm not new to Bible prophecy. If they're new, if they've got a new channel, yeah, I know we only got like 13,000 subscribers after they deleted our channel, but we should be up to a couple of 100,000 now if they hadn't deleted our channel. But anyway, what I'm saying is, be careful. Be slow to hear, slow to accept it. And I would say first line it up with your King James Bible. And in my opinion, of course I spent a lot of time with Dimitri, but in my opinion, second thing to line it up with to Dimitri's prophecies. If it doesn't meet those 2 tests, then toss it out. Then line up with the other things. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. And speaking of, someone emailed me and they said, well, you're always saying in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. What about the secret door? I said, well, that's supposed to be for prophecies. The secret door was a specific teaching to help people understand the correct chronological order of Revelation. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that's got that secret door, which is in the book Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy at prophecyclub.com. Okay, so anyway, State of Palestine takes a seat at UN General Assembly. The whole world is against Israel right now. This is a problem. We're on the verge of the big war in the Middle East, and behind the scenes, someone is smiling. Yeah, I don't think this is the big war. I don't think it's Armageddon. What do you mean? Wait. Okay. I think what we're going to see is more war, and then we'll see the Palestinian state come out, and there'll be a brief time of peace in Israel, but it'll only be brief. And then Israel will discover oil. The oil will make the Jews willing to fight for the land, and it gives them money to build up their military. Then they go against Israel, or the surrounding Muslim nations, clean their clock. That happens, and then Israel dwells safely, and then Armageddon happens. So, another thing, somebody sent me an email, but again, I appreciate your email, thank you. And there's another person saying their interpretation of the 4 horsemen, and it's just wrong. It's just people giving their opinions. Well, Stan, what makes you think you're right? Well, first of all, I think I'm right, but I don't know for certain I'm right. But I do know for certain I memorized the book of Revelation, and I think I can prove that. And it's the difference between smelling the food versus tasting the food versus swallowing the food. When we read Revelation, I'll use Revelation specifically, it's like smelling the food. If we read it several times, it's to where we tasted it, but we didn't swallow it. But when a person memorizes the word, any word in the Bible, it's like swallowing it down. And when we swallow it down, at least in my case, I got revelations. I came to understand things in Revelation and Bible prophecy I'd never understood before. A level you can't get by just studying it. Study it until you are blue in the face. Write books on it. But until you have memorized the book, based on my experience, until I'd memorized those scriptures, they weren't in here. Even my wife says, when he memorized the book of Revelation, he changed. There was a change. Because faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. When I memorized it, it got in here. I changed. And that's part of one of the reasons he said that when I anoint people with oil, in the name of the Lord, ask for the spirit of revelation to come upon them, it will come upon them, and they will be able to understand Bible prophecy and teach it. And that's one of the things I do when I am speaking in churches or at crusades or something like that. Okay, so the point is, I think that we're probably going to see this current October 7th war conclude in the counting of the Omer, which I think is like April 12th to June 1st next year. And that'll give the Palestinians a state. That'll probably also give Jews access to the Temple Mount. Then they can, I don't think it'll build a temple. I think it's the actual tabernacle of Moses. But anyway, I don't have time to get into that right now. And then the Ark of the Covenant will come out. The Antichrist sits on the Ark of the Covenant, proclaims himself God. So here in the next 12 months, we're going to see a lot of things happen. Okay, let's go on. Okay, assassination teams inside the USA to kill Trump. The article says there's 5 different teams. 3 of them are foreign, but 2 of them are domestic assassination teams. And he's not the only one that says it. This is in a lot of articles, a lot of places out there. And I'm not surprised. I'm surprised probably there's not 10 or 12 or 15 of them. And I've heard rumors that there's already been like about 15 attempts on his life. I'm not surprised because the devil comes not but for to kill, steal, and destroy. On to the next one. Is there a secret ulterior motive behind the emergency move that the Federal Reserve just made? Yes. But I'm not going to talk about the ulterior motive. Obviously, they're doing it because they want to see their guy or their woman, Kamala Harris, get in. But you remember that Barry Wunsch was shown inside the Federal Reserve, and the computers were about to melt down. There's the whole Federal Reserve system, the whole SWIFT system is all about to melt down. We're about to get a new financial system. That's what the prophecies say, and that's what's really going on. Again, we've ruled, this is what the evil says, we've ruled this planet for thousands of years, we'll destroy it, rather give it up, and they are not kidding. And they will destroy it, and hence your suitcase nukes. On to the next one. Less than 50 days until life in America changes forever, and our nation is primed for massive civil unrest. I think that's accurate. The prophecies say that's accurate. I mean, like right now, I've not heard, it could be, but I've not heard that we have agreed on a new budget. And right now, the Republicans are not, they're saying, look, we're tired of backing up. We're tired of having to bend over and capitulate with you guys. And this time we're going to stand up. We want the whole budget thing, they're holding the budget ransom because they want to have, the only people who can vote in the election are citizens of the United States. And they aren't backing up on it. So we could see, we want our entitlements, just like Shane Warren was told back in 2010, we could see those signs before the end of the year. We want our entitlements because if they don't give the Republicans the requirement for a person to be a U.S. citizen in order to vote, we could have a government shutdown. And that's potentially a few weeks away. See, there's so many things going wrong. It's a perfect storm. A perfect storm is a storm from the north, south, the east, west, from all directions coming in all at once. And that's the reason I had to read the newspaper headlines, because it's so many things all happening at once. New docs shed light on Air Force's goal to reduce white male population joining officer ranks. Well, this is part of the DEI. Okay, it's part of evil people in high places destroying this Christian nation. And sad to say, they're just about destroyed it. What to know about the looming port strikes? Remember, Dana Coverstone was shown that the, what is it called, where none of the ships worldwide were moving. So here we go. We could see this port strike loom up into not just America, but to other nations. And all of a sudden, all of the ships worldwide stop. What does that mean? That means some people are going to be starving. That means you're not going to be able to buy a bicycle for your little child because it comes from China and all sorts of things like that. So we see, again, I had to just read some newspaper headlines. There's so many things going on. Next one. Matt Gaetz, there are 5 known assassination teams in America out to kill President Trump. 3 of them are foreign in nature. As I said, there's many people that had this headline. They're all talking about it right now. EU calling for nuclear war. Russia's top MP, Strasbourg, called to lift restrictions on UK's use of Western weapons. And if we do that, Russia says they will attack. They will call that an act of war. Fortunately, it's not in the prophecies for right now. I do think it's coming. I do not think it's coming now. Nothing will slow me down, says President Trump. I will never surrender. Trump released a statement on attempted shooting. I didn't read the statement. I'm covered up with information happening out there. OpenAI says latest O1 model on new level and can, quote, think before it answers. I think this is the image of the beast. We've been talking about the image of the beast for many years now. I still think it's going to be a clone. I think it will be half man, half devil, but it'll also be partially flesh and partially metal. Jason Weeks was shown that in a vision. And it'll be connected to the quantum computers that are connected to the Starlink satellites. And this whole end time scenario is all coming together. Again, a perfect storm, all from different directions. It's all happening, and that's what I'm trying to show here today. It's all coming together. I'm going to conclude with this. This is from one newspaper source, but I found it on many other sites, so I believe it to be true, and I've heard him say this in so many different forms. Trump outlines 9 steps to drain the swamp. Listen carefully to what he says. Now, this is summarized from his speeches, okay? First step, end government weaponization. Trump promised to end what he described as the government's abuse of power, particularly in law enforcement. He criticized the Department of Justice under Vice President Harris, claiming it has unfairly targeted Christians and pro-life activists. We will completely overhaul Kamala's corrupt Department of Justice, turn the DOJ back into the best law enforcement agency on the planet. Well, good luck with that, Trump. I think that you're certainly going to try. I think a lot of your goals will not be had because we're just too evil as a nation. Second step, restore free speech. Trump pledged to protect free speech, accusing the media of dishonesty and bias. Fake news is a threat to this country, he said. He said he would sign an executive order banning any federal employee from colluding to limit speech. Well, again, I hope he does that. Expel the warmongers. Trump promised to expel the warmongers and address the influence of the military-industrial complex. How can he do that? My opinion, he can only do that because he has kingly powers. And he arrests people and puts them into military tribunals, my opinion. Fourth step, curtail federal bureaucrats' power. How can he do that? He can only does that if he has king powers. He hasn't said he has that. He did say he wants to be king for a day. Former president also announced plans to reduce the power of federal bureaucrats at the suggestion of tech entrepreneur Elon Musk, which in my opinion is not a good guy. Trump said he would create a World Efficiency Commission to conduct a financial audit of the entire federal government, especially the Federal Reserve. That is not federal. It is not part of the federal government and probably has no reserves. Fifth step, reform education. Trump pledged to drain the government education swamp. Good luck with that. Again, it's infested with evil these days. Sixth step, end equity policies. Punish the Americans based upon race and gender. Instead, he said America will return to the merit principle. Again, the only way he can heal America is to require the King James Bible to be read from kindergarten all the way into college every day. In my opinion, we would have to have a massive revival. There is a massive revival coming. I don't think Trump is enough of a Christian to push that. Seventh step, address corruption in public health. Frankly, I'm tired of reading them. I'm tired. There's so much happening. All I can say, my brothers and sisters, assuming you watching have Jesus in your heart, and I believe you do, then you better be talking to your friends, neighbors, relatives, business friends, work friends. You better be talking to people around about you. If you're thinking, oh, when trouble hits, they'll turn to Jesus, don't count on it. Talk to them now. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians, and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper, and as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. In 2021, I started making bread. And long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat a morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon. Always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out. josephskitchen.com. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these. From EMPShield.com. EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps your prophecy class.